A very good evening to all my viewers. I welcome back all of you to this Getty Talk Live session. And today is International Day of Happiness. And this is why I have a very special guest with me. Before I introduce her, I would also like to tell you that she's a very warm and loving person. You can go on talking to her for hours and hours, and she's going to make you happy, the most happiest person. So she's none other than Seetha Sagaran. She's an award winning personal development trainer, a lifestyle consultant, motivational speaker with a background in English and psychology. And especially, she specialized in counseling, including crisis and trauma. She has also been a speaker at the Women's Economic Forum in January 2020. She is the co author of the book, two books rather, Women Who Inspire and Your Dose of Motivation. Ma'am, I'm really happy that you are here, once again after our panel discussion on March 8th. I was looking forward for this session and there was no other person I could think of. So, the topic that we have chosen, secrets to happiness, that we decided to speak about. I want you to, in this age of stress was always there. It's not that we are experiencing this in this time. Everybody in every century, but the stress and the reasons of the stress were different. Now it's more of competition and going ahead in life and happiness and personal professional balancing that. So I would like you to, highlight the secrets of happiness. The floor is yours. And yes, viewers, you know me. My name is Shilpi. I'm the relationship manager with the Global Education and Training Institute. And here is Ms. Sagaran for all of you.
Thank you so much, Shilpi. Thank you so much. I love the warm introduction you have given me. And it's been a pleasure interacting with you too. And once again, being on the same platform. Thank you. So big thanks to you and of course to the Global Education and Training Institute India. Thank you. Now when we talk about happiness, I'd like to tell you all a story today. So there was this young man who was in search of happiness, and he came to know that in his town, in the far end of the town, there lived a man, a wise man, who would give him the secret of how to be happy. So this young man, he walks up, taking the road, he walks and walks. You might wonder why he didn't decide to maybe get into a car, but let's stick to the atmosphere of the story, shall we? So he walked and he came across this beautiful, beautiful mansion. Now he was a bit surprised because according to him, he thought that, people who are trying to achieve happiness will be living in a very modest place, in a more simpler and more humble environment, or so he thought. So when he went in, he was very surprised to see the whole place was bustling. There was a lot of food on one side, literally a feast. There were people sitting and chatting, and there was the wise man. The wise man, seeing him, smiled and asked him, "Yes, what can I do for you?" And this person said, "I have come to learn the secret of happiness from you." So this person said, "Before we start talking, there is one thing I want you to do. Before you know the person that you wish to speak to and find out a secret from, you should know where the person lives," he said. He gives him a spoon in which there were a couple of drops of oil, a very small, tiny spoon, and asked him to take a round in this castle and said, "You come back, look around and then come back and tell me what you saw." So this man was holding on to the spoon and walking. He walked through the whole castle, but he didn't see anything because his concentration was on that small spoon with the oil. So coming back, this man asked, the wise man asked, "What did you see?" And he said, "I didn't see really much." He said, "You didn't see the beautiful paintings? You didn't see the lovely carpets? You didn't see the interiors of the castle?" And this man said, no. So he said, you need to go back and see everything and then come back. So he goes again. And after coming back, he said, oh, I saw this. I saw how beautiful the castle was. I saw the garden. And looking at the spoon, he realized there was no oil left on the spoon because it had all spilled off. So this man, the wise man, told him, now what is important for you to realize is making sure you have a balance in life. And that is one of the important keys to achieving happiness. So while we are enjoying life, we need to also be aware of our responsibilities, of things we need to do. And that is where the spoon comes into the picture. But at the same time, while being conscious of our responsibilities, we need to not forget the beauty, lots and lots of things we are able to enjoy in this world as well. So balance is the key, dear viewers. And I hope you like the story. But the first thought when people ask me about happiness and some of the tips to happiness, I think the first tip that comes to my mind is giving. Yes, you heard it right. It's giving. Because the joy that you get when you are helping someone, when you are making someone's life better, when you are reaching out and guiding someone, it doesn't always have to be through financial means. It could just be giving a shoulder to cry on, or it could be some wisdom that they are asking you to share, which could help them. It could be any of that. But giving is the first step that you can think of in becoming happier. The next step that crosses my mind is about relating. And when I talk about relating, it's about, you guessed it, relationships. Now, why are relationships so important in terms of contributing to our happiness? I think for obvious reasons, because relationships are known to nurture, are known to give us a sense of joy and a feeling of belonging. So, cultivating desirable, positive relationships is very important. At the same time, being realistic about relationships is also very, very important. When I say realistic, what I'm thinking about is the number of times I've heard people come across and tell that, oh, but I thought that person was my friend. Now, looking at the picture, whose fault was that? Was it the friend, or was it the person who thought that other person was their friend? It comes from over expectations. Imagine if you were in a relationship and you thought a friend was your friend, but in all humility, that friend never knew that you considered that person as a friend, and that person just thought of you as an acquaintance. Therein lies the challenge. So cultivate relationships. They might be few, but that are strong and that hold a lot of value to each other. It's very, very important in terms of nurturing the existing relationship that you have. The next thing is, of course, taking care of yourself, wellness, exercising, yoga, possibly, meditation. Taking care of yourself is very, very important. Initially, there are some people who feel very hesitant about taking care of themselves. They consider it as, oh, am I not focusing too much on myself? But unless you learn to love yourself, how can you expect to receive love? And it's so important that you respect the person you are as much as you respect others around you. So we come to wellness and the importance of wellness in our happiness. Appreciating. Now, when I talk about appreciating, it's not just about liking what you have. It's just about looking around you and thinking of how much there is to appreciate in this beautiful world. Of course, there are things that are extremely challenging, extremely harsh, and things that could definitely be much better. However, there are still things that you can definitely appreciate and consider with a sense of gratitude. How many people are able to lead the life that you lead? How many people are able to enjoy good health that you have? And how many people are able to be part of a loving group called family that you belong to? And even those people who may not be a part of family, they will definitely be people who love you and who are around you, who consider you as one of their own. Appreciating is another important segment, I would say, as far as happiness goes. The next thing would be trying out. When I talk about trying out, it's about learning. I was just speaking to Shilpi a few minutes before came live. We came live on the session, and she was just asking me about my learning and the journey that I have been taking for so many years. I'm a part of so many years, and I look forward to being a part of, all the time, I would say. Learning is something that will also be very uplifting, because one of the things I realized is that how much it nurtures and how much it gives you a sense of purpose and enhances the focus you have on life. So, learning is fundamental. So, those of you who believe you have everything going, a great life, loving people, and sometimes you feel a sense of dissatisfaction, please, I request you to look at yourself, look within, and ask yourself, is this where I wish to be? Do I need to learn and grow? And I can assure you, yes, we all can always grow and become better. So, learning is the next key to happiness. And of course, when I talk about learning, it is personal development, whether it's personal or professional. Direction. What are the goals that you have? How many of us have actually thought about goals from the perspective of what is our passion? I come across people who are in their 50s, and some of them even in their late 50s and 60s, who tell me that they have everything. They have a lovely family, they have a great job with benefits, they have no problems regarding money, but they are not happy. They are not satisfied with life. So I think herein lies the question to all of us. Are we moving towards our goal, or are we working towards reaching the goal that we wish to? Or are we just like a boat on the ocean, which has no anchor and the current is taking it to different places? I think, unfortunately, for a lot of people, they have got into a certain space in their life because they may either have been told to that is the best area to take, or they would have found people whom they love and they admire moving in that direction. So they decide to take that direction. But are you on the journey that you wish to really be on? I'd like you to think about it. So be aware of the direction you're taking, because that is very, very important and adds a lot of impact in the state of happiness you're enjoying today. Next thing is, of course, resilience. When I talk about resilience, it's about the tenacity to overcome challenges. How many of us are resilient? Resilient when it comes to facing challenges. Life need not always go smoothly. As we all know, there can always be challenges, barriers, or stepping stones that are there for us to learn better. How susceptible are we to learning in such situations? And that is where resilience comes in as a factor. And when I talk about resilience, I would like to talk about toxicity. And when I talk about this, I would like to remind all of you that it's very important that in our journey in becoming better, more and more resilient, we are able to accept, acknowledge emotions or situations that could cause us a lot of a lot of deep rooted, perhaps anxiety or stress. How well we tackle that, of course, is important. But are we acknowledging it in the first place? Because a lot of times people around us, with of course our best interests at heart, might tell us, come on, it's fine, just focus on the better. But are we allowing them to acknowledge, accept the fact that they are experiencing a sense of anxiety and stress, allowing them to heal, allowing them to acknowledge what they are going through as natural? And I think this is very, very important because this is something which adds to our resilience, which adds in making us a lot more stronger in facing life and facing the future. And of course, making us happier as well. Now, there are some people have talked about toxic positivity. And I think this is what I just mentioned a little while back. How much are we to blame for this? That is something I would like all of you to think about. Because, like I said, allow people to feel what they need to feel. But should we find that they are unable to overcome, that is when probably we need to help them more. Maybe it could be therapy. And I think we need to enable people to take such steps in helping. Because just like physical health, mental health is very, very important to be taken care of. There is, of course, a gradual shift, I'm very happy to note today, regarding taking care of mental health. But I think we still have a considerable distance to go as far as taking care of mental health effectively goes. So please, I request all of you to focus on making sure that you all focus on your mental health and state of mind. That is where positive thinking comes in. We've all heard of positive thinking, yes. But are we being positive? And one of the techniques I think I would like to share here with you is when we are either speaking negatively or we are involved in anything which is not necessarily positive for us, we are taking ourselves away from happiness. I'll give you an example. When it comes to happiness, I realize that some of the magazines that we might come across, maybe it could be while we are waiting to in an office perhaps, and you would find some of the magazines which is relating to not really much, just probably gossip and entertainment. If it's just entertainment, that's fine. But are we drawn towards gossip? Now, if we are, I can assure you it's not enabling you to be any happier because it's taking us away from our attention to positive thinking. How can we be more positive? Think positive, talk positive, be positive, and do the things that can lead us into thinking better and being more happier. The next thing I would talk about is emotion, which is, of course, related to positive thinking. The kind of emotions we engage ourselves in makes a huge difference to the state of mind. I'd like to ask you these questions. Are you stressed? Are you prone to anger? Are you suspicious by nature? Or do you think the worst in any situation? If the answer to any of these questions is a yes, it's time for you to make a shift in your thinking. Acceptance about who you are. Now, I think this is also something which is very, very important when it comes to all of us. Because Not everyone is comfortable about being who they are. None of us are perfect. But have we accepted the fact that we are all imperfect and we have a lot of areas we need to improve and work on? So, accepting us for who we are is absolutely fine. Don't you accept people around you? So, why not yourself? Be more compassionate about your learning, your growth, your progress, as much as you show compassion for others around you. So, please, please focus on accepting who you are. And I think another area which I would like to focus here is about finding meaning in your life. Have you found the focus that you are looking for? Have you come to the understanding and realization of what you are meant to be? If not, I would strongly recommend you to get to know yourself. Ask yourself, what are the areas that resonate with you in life? Are you probably someone who's very happy being a social worker? Or are you absolutely happy being in the corporate world alone all the time? Or would you like to have a balance? Ask yourself, because these are all questions that really add value to who you are, what you are, and to the happiness that you can achieve. Thank you so much for watching me, and I hope that you've all been able to enjoy the session as much as we have enjoyed bringing the session to you. And wishing each of you a very, very happy life ahead. And I'd like to hand it to Shilpi, who's ready to ask me a couple of questions.
Thank you, Ms. Sagaran, for being so nice and soft spokenly. You in such a subtle manner you have given the secrets to happiness. Ma'am, there was a term you used, toxic positivity, if I have heard it correctly.
Correct, correct.
If I heard it. Yeah.
Yes,
So can
you
you
are
just
absolutely,
define it a bit?
absolutely. I think this is something that we all, I'm not sure how many of us are aware about, but it is basically when we are trying to help, despite having the best of interests at heart, we are trying to help someone by literally smothering the feelings that they need to literally experience because they have to let it out of their system. For example, if suppose someone is in mourning, a loved one has passed away, how exactly are you comforting that person whom you care for, who has lost that person that they have loved? Are you allowing them to let go of their emotions, experience the sorrow, come to terms with the fact that they will no longer have their loved one physically with them? Or are you in a rush to make them feel better that they don't have time to grieve? So I think this is something which is very, very important. In fact, just a couple of weeks back, my daughter was just discussing this subject with me, and I was actually quite taken aback because it never struck me that this could be something which is toxic. As someone who believes in positivity, I had always, whenever I speak to people, I always keep requesting them to focus on the positive. Think about how lucky and blessed they are. But this is also an area we need to acknowledge and acknowledge with respect. So I think I have to thank my daughter for actually having talked about it a couple of weeks back so that I'm able to share this very important topic with you when we are discussing happiness. I hope I was clear, Shilpi.
Yes, yes, yes. So ma'am, coming to like we were talking about happiness. Um, would you like our youngsters advise them? We know, as adults, meditation, reading good books, doing all these things, and somewhere we also know how to make ourselves happy. But for youngsters, Yeah, I mean, recently we hear so many suicides taking place. People, I mean, they feel life is so cheap. Can they just end it just because one little thing is not working according to their wish? And especially, this is very much with the youngsters. So, happiness, is it equivalent to success in all walks of life? I mean, can't we take failures? Not failures. I wouldn't even call not achieving something as a failure, because there are so many other things to achieve in life. You know, so how would you advise them that what is the secret of happiness for them to not get themselves into such negativity so as to take their lives?
Thank you. Shilpi, you have actually put across a very powerful question here. And I'm very, very grateful that you have brought this up because I think, in terms of the feelings that probably youngsters go through, I think the number one suggestion I have for them is yes, it might be very, very challenging for some of them, but to become closer to their parents if possible, or become closer to someone whom they are able to look up to, who's able to guide them well, and whom they are able to communicate effectively. Because I think it makes a huge difference when you have someone whom you are able to look up to. And that, number one, makes a big difference. Number two, Shilpi, I think today, in today's, I would say, extremely technologically advanced world that we are a part of, I think keeping away from social media, other than probably for professional purposes or perhaps
Yes.
for learning, it's a good idea to balance how important that plays a role in your life. Because unfortunately, I think when we talk about positive toxicity, I think we need to also understand that unfortunately, social media also creates this illusion for people that, oh, that, you are in such a situation, but look at how others are. They are doing so well. Look at their photographs. Look at how many likes they have got. And look at all the places that they have been to. And where are you?
Yes, yes.
So I personally think that it's very, very important to have a balance. And for this, I really appeal to the parents. Get to know your children. They are wonderful. I have immense regard and respect for today's generation because they are not the generation who would just listen to whatever you tell them because you're telling them. They would like to listen to you if you make sense. If you don't make sense and logic, they will not listen, which I think is fair enough. So please get to know them. And the more we get to know them, we are also able to learn from them better. In fact, when we talk about learning from them, I'd like to mention here, Shilpi, that in the second book, which I was fortunate to be a co author of, I have actually mentioned both my children playing such an important role in my learning journey. So, parents, please, I appeal to you, get to know them better. And the third thing I would like to mention to parents here is please allow them to fly. Let them get into a profession that they would like to be in. And sometimes people take a long time to decide what they want to do. And I'm an example of that.
Yes.
So please allow them to get into the journey that they are meant for. Because then they will not be wanting you to constantly tell them, oh, don't you have to do this? Don't you want to do that? Because it'll be their passion. I hope I've been able to answer to some extent.
Ms. Sagaran, there is a very important question coming from our audience, and although we are running short of time, but still I would like to put it up because I
Absolutely
think your
fine.
answer might, it will help this gentleman greatly. He
Sure.
says, I am depressed person. I mean, it's so, I'm a depressed person and getting more stressed mind always. And he says, I want to focus on my work, but I think so he's not able to do that because of his depression. So he says
Okay.
how to overcome depression. So, ma'am, first of all, this depression word has become so common that even a little worry, if we have, which is natural, we are human beings. We can stress out a little things also. But this word has become so common that even small children, and I've heard, oh, I'm depressed. So this term is being taken so lightly. A little worry is categorized as depression. So would you like to tell this gentleman, first of all, what is depression? How serious is the word depression? Maybe he's just worried. Maybe he's just worried, but he is using it as depression. And then, yes, something to do with it so that he can focus on his normal life.
Thank you, Shilpi. I think what I would like to mention here is that it's unfortunately a fact today that the word depression is being used a lot more. And this does not
Yeah,
help people who actually are undergoing the stress and anxiety of the actual
yeah,
state of depression they are in. So, what I would like to recommend, and please do not get me wrong, the gentleman who has now just asked me this question, what I would like to ask you is I want you to ask yourself on a scale of 10 how long this has been happening, the state that you are in, number one. Number two, have you ever spoken about this to someone? Have you ever taken help? Now, when I'm talking about taking help here, I want all the viewers here today to please understand that it's perfectly fine if you need to take help for your mental health. So, if you require the assistance of a therapist, if you require the assistance of a psychologist or a psychiatrist, please do not
yes,
hesitate. And do not
yes,
for a moment even think, oh my goodness, what will others say? It is your life. You deserve to be healthy and you deserve to be taking care of yourself. Imagine if you had a headache or if you had any other physical ailment, you know that you would take help, right? And at the same
yes,
time, if you were not well and if you ignore your physical state that you are in, will it not get worse? So, if you believe that you would definitely benefit by talking about the state that you're in with a professional mental health professional worker, I would definitely strongly suggest you to go ahead and do that and not waste any time wondering what you should do. Because when you reach out to them, for all you know, they might just be able to help you and guide you and support you. And or it could also be you might perhaps need some further assistance. But whatever it is, please take the necessary steps in making sure your mental health is well, because it definitely will affect your physical health sooner or later.
thank you so much. Thanks is also being said from this gentleman. He says, thanks a lot, ma'am. So, ma'am, I would now thank you for giving time to us. I think you were just busy. You just got up from a meeting and came to us. So, thank you for again for spending some time for us and giving us this beautiful secret to happiness. And for our viewers, yes, happiness doesn't mean that you're devoid of stress or worry. That's a part of human life. What happiness is all about, that you enjoy your worry also. You do not give it that much of importance to it and enjoy all the bliss that you have in life. So, with that, I would like to end this show. And yes, I would like to inform my school heads and my teachers who are watching it that Getty is committed to teachers training, quality teachers training, and which we are about to begin in April. For further information, you can call on the number which you can see on the banner below. Thank you once again, and a very good night.
Thank you so much, Shilpi, and of course, Getty once again. And I would like to wish all our viewers the very, very best. And please, Shilpi, if you do not mind, if you can just type in my email address, my website detail, so that should anyone wish to contact me, you're most welcome to do so. Take care and
I'll do
wishing
that.
you all the very
Thank
best. God bless. Thank you, Shilpi.